Due to some recent developments, I have decided that my goats now have their own Only Goats channel. So this is it. Welcome to the Only Goats channel. So we have had some interesting developments in the past couple of days. I now have goats staying in my kitchen. Little trip out to the barn and I'll tell you a story. So we've had goats. We actually have a boar goat, which is a meat goat, and a Nubian, which is a milk goat. And I was planning on, they're both does, they're both girls. And obviously you can't milk a goat until they have babies, so we needed to get some bucks. Why do I have a boar goat? Companionship. She was my little buddy. And it looks like they're about to go outside for the first time since it snowed. Maybe? You don't want to go outside? So I have to clean their barn here. That's what I'm going to be doing. Because it's a mess in here. We're just hiding under the chair. Is there a reason that this is happening? What are you doing? Okay, we're just gonna hide under the chair. You know I can still see you, right? Like, I can still see you. So long story short, while I'm waiting for my kid to get in the car, because we're gonna go run some errands, I needed to get some hay for my goats that I already have before the holidays, because I drive an SUV. I really should trade this in for a truck, but I drive an SUV, so I can only get like 4 bales at a time because I can fit 4 bales in here. It makes the car really messy, but it feeds the goats. So I called my hay guy and he was like, yeah, meet me at 5:30. I'm like, okay. I go down to meet him at 5:30 and then he was like, can you make it closer to 6:30? Can you find something to do for an hour? I'm like, okay, well the auction's open. I'll stop at the animal auction, see what they have. Just see what they have. It's always a bad thing. So I stop in at the animal auction and I see this boar buck. Sweetest little guy. Oh my goodness. He was a doll and I adored him. But because he was a meat goat, he probably would have gone, you know, to the people that were there for meat, because there are a lot of people there bidding on meat. He probably would have gone for a lot more than I was willing to pay just to have a buck. So I stayed there and these 2 little adorable things come out, the ones that you saw in the kitchen. They come out and I bid on them and they went for 30 bucks. I'm like, okay. So I bring them home. Not entirely sure what they are at this point in time. So I'm pretty sure that they are Nigerians, because the black one has blue eyes and only Nigerians have blue eyes. I get them in the barn and they're all set up and they're a little like shy or whatever, but I figure, okay, they just have to warm up. I thought they looked a little brown. The next day my boyfriend wants to see them, so I bring them out to the barn and they're still being skittish. And I'm like, this doesn't seem like typical goat behavior. I'm a little concerned. I'm like, do you think that we should bring them in the house to like keep an eye on them, get them to get warmed up to us, whatever? And he was like, yeah. So we each carried a goat and brought them in the house. By the next day they started to warm up, but I noticed that their consistency of their number 2s were not always what they should have been. So I was like, okay, we're gonna keep them in here. I'm not bringing them out tonight. I'm glad that I brought them in the house to keep an eye on them, because I knew that something didn't feel right, and I'm glad I trusted my instincts, because they were not the healthiest goats. They weren't the healthiest babies. And this can happen from, and I'm new to this, so anybody feel free to correct me in the comments, but this can happen just from like the stress of them being separated and transported and put in a new place. So I've got them in my kitchen. They're starting to warm up. And I especially want them to be like happy, healthy, friendly goats, because they are going to be bucks. So I started, like, you know, just trimming a little bit on their hooves to get them used to it. My guess is they're about 3 months old. So, you ready, kiddo? I brought the babies back to the barn. They're now living in the barn again. I will keep an eye on them to make sure they're doing okay. But I don't know, I see people that have their baby goats that are living in their houses, and I just don't know how people keep house goats. Like, I did it for a day. I could never do it again. Well, I say that, but if it came down to them not surviving or having to keep them in the house, I would totally bring them in the house again, but definitely not preferred. My house is definitely stinkier than I wanted it to be, but make sure I'm going to be uploading new videos to this channel, and I'm going to be talking about, you know, as I add to my homestead, as we do different things in the homestead, I will be vlogging about it. But please consider supporting this channel by subscribing, liking, commenting. This is going to be considered the only goats channel.
Mama, watch this.
Yeah. Whoa, very cool. She's jumping on the trampoline in the house.
Mama, you missed it.
Right now, my goats are freeloaders, so they might as well start working for it, start earning their keep, and they can have their own YouTube channel. This is the Only Goats channel. So make sure you subscribe, click like, hit that bell notification. I will be posting more videos of different things that happen in my crazy little life here on the farm. He's yes, that's better. And they're starting to thin out where they were looking a little bloated before. They're starting to look like actual goats instead of like little balls of sickness. And I'm not totally sure what to name this channel yet, so I guess we'll figure out what happens with that. All right, say bye, guys. Yeah. My mom said you can't be considered a dog when you can walk underneath a baby Nigerian dwarf goat.